Namaste. A warm welcome to everyone to the most awaited Mini Nobel Laureate Juniors panel discussion. We are surrounded by living and non-living things. Or can we say we are surrounded by physics, chemistry or biology? We are also covered with a blanket of stars, or is it astrology? We are standing on Earth with faults and cracks, or is it geology? To make sense of all these, we need our brain. Or can we say it as psychology? Whenever questions arise from what to when, or from why to how, we have science related to it. And those who find the answer to these questions are called scientists. So we all are scientists in one way or another. This Mini Nobel Laureate Award gives us an opportunity to recognize and honor our budding junior scientists of our school. This award was introduced in honor of Eric Allin Cornell, an American physicist who, along with Carl A. Wieman, was able to synthesize the first Bose-Einstein condensation in 1995. For this, they shared the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2001. Our chairman, Sir Dr. M. Srinivasan, met the Nobel laureate Eric Cornell as a guest parent and was inspired to institute this award to nurture and create noble minds in our Gear Cup. Now, I would like to welcome our Executive Director, Mr. Srinivasan Sir, Saanvi Ma'am, our Principal, Ms. Nandini Bhatt Ma'am, parents and all my fellow mentors. I also welcome our esteemed panel of judges, Sarvesh Sir, Rashmi Mishra Ma'am and Minal Joshi Ma'am. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our team of panelists. We also have amongst us last year's winner, Shaurya. I request you to join the panel discussion and share your insights.
Namaste. So, I won the MNL last year, and what I noticed from last year was that the panel was very productive. There were a lot of thoughts and different opinions that everyone gave on the same topic, the same question. And what I feel is that that's the biggest learning you can get out of this panel, is that one question can result in many different answers. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Thank you, Shara, for sharing your experience. Namaste, everyone. Let's now move on to our stars of the today's session. Our 8 young panelists from grades 5th to 8th, each one bringing their unique brilliance to illuminate our minds with their insights. They have successfully completed They have successfully completed the preliminary rounds of selections and are today here because of their academic excellence, exceptional scientific attitude and passion. As I call each panelist, please introduce yourself and project and take your designated place. Atharv Dua from 5G.
Namaste, my name is Atharv and I study in grade 5. First, I would like to thank all my mentors for guiding me throughout this whole journey and teaching me about the concept of MNL, because I learned many new things throughout this whole process. My project represented the remarkable healing capabilities in an animal group like lizards. They are specially programmed stem cells that carry genetic information so that if the tail is cut off, it can regenerate. Now, I also would like to hope that my research could lead to a medical breakthrough to heal hard to heal injuries. Thank you, and I hope we can have an insightful discussion.
Next, Saanvi Shankar from 5M.
Namaste all, my name is Saanvi Shankar. I study in grade 5M. Science always interests me as I'm curious about a lot of things and keep researching to get answers. Every day on my way to school and back to home, I experience traffic and so do we. I thought I could solve this problem. As I was researching, I got to know that NDTV recently reported Bangalore alone loses 20,000 crores in traffic due to the time spent in traffic and the money used to buy fuel. As MNL came along, I thought I could implement my idea. Each traffic light the name of my system is known as VATES, Vision Voice AI Enabled Traffic System. Vision helps monitor the roads to see if any problem is occurring. Voice helps guide the people and make special announcements. AI enabled helps the camera send signals to automatically lower and raise the boom barriers and change lights. Thank you. I look for.
Next, Adit Nayak from 6M.
Namaste everyone, my name is Adit Nayak, I'm from grade 6M. I thought a lot of ways of how to introduce myself, so I thought why not say 3 things about myself. 1. I love to solve the why behind all the things around us this keeps my scientist mind alive with my childlike curiosity. Number 2, since I'm a child and that childness is very much alive in me, it helps me observe things without bias and as is. Number 3, I am developing undeterred focus through my basketball training and my music classes. These 3 things, curiosity, observation and focus, are key to becoming a good scientist. My project was called the Ketanic Yarn. It used small amount of energy source to give a push to the vehicle and then use the kinetic energy of the wheels to power the rest of the journey. I was inspired to do this project by seeing many vehicles parked in the fuel station waiting for fuel while coming to school. I'm honored to be part of this panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Adit. Next, Karthik Ragesh from 6G.
Namaste, my name is Karthik and I'm from 6th grade. I like science when it's used to solve problems. When I heard about the Odisha train crash, I wanted to do something and so when I got selected for MNL round 2, I thought it was a perfect way of executing my idea. I use sensors and motors to make my train stop when it senses an obstacle. I am privileged to be part of this panel discussion and look forward to have a good learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Next is Shaurya Dara from 7B.
Namaste, my name is Shaurya and I'm from 7th grade. My project is about a device that cleans up space debris. Space debris is actually a massively overlooked problem that we usually face. It can have huge consequences on Earth and also space exploration. Therefore, my proposed solution is the first step to clean up space debris. Thank you.
Next is Uday, Vishal, Bhaskaran from 7M.
Namaste everybody, my name is Uday Vishal Bhaskaran and I made a drone that goes out at night and picks up trash from the side of roads. I was inspired to do this when I would be going anywhere around Bangalore and would see heaps of trash just on the side of roads. Now, what this often did was block the people and cause traffic. So, I knew that we can't change the people behave towards Mother Nature by destroying and hurting her at every movement. So, I made a drone that goes out at night and picks up trash from the side floors. Since this drone picks up trash and, of course, is a drone, I've named it the Picker Drone. I look forward to this discussion and would like to learn a lot.
Thank you, Uday. Next is Vidhi from 8K.
Namaste everyone, my name is Vidhi and I'm from grade 8K. I feel cancer is a huge global problem which isn't being taken seriously enough. And if you do research, nearly every sixth death is now caused due to cancer. My project is based on the ideology of how to deal with cancer proactively. It talks about how we can detect carcinogens in our daily environment, and I have built a device that does that. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and I'd like to thank my parents, my teachers, and all my friends who helped me get here. I'm looking forward to an enriching discussion and hope to take away great learning from here.
Thank you, Vidhi. Next is Nikhil Iyengar from 8G.
Hi, my name is Iyengar and I'm from 8th grade. For my M&L project, I wanted to solve one of the largest problems in our world today, that being garbage. Garbage is everywhere, and if we don't find a solution for it now, it can become a huge problem in the future. So that's exactly what I did in my project. I converted garbage into something that will be useful for us. I used incineration of garbage and converted the light emitted into electrical energy. And I used this electrical energy to light up a couple of light bulbs. I'd like to thank my judges today for this amazing experience, and I hope to learn a lot from this panel discussion. Thank you.
All that curiosity, determination, and pursuit of knowledge can change the world. These young minds are proof that innovation knows no age limits. With this thought, I would request Sarvesha to please open the discussion.
Yeah, namaste everybody. First off, congratulations to each and every one of you for going through the written round and your projects and then finally being here. So, each one of you are definitely winners and already mini Nobels in all of our eyes. So this panel discussion is only just to help us identify one person who is slightly standing out from the rest of you. So it doesn't mean that the rest of you are not mini Nobels already. If anyone who's written the first round, even completed and reached the second round itself, has a scientific bent of thinking, and we'd like to appreciate all of them sitting also behind me. So, yes. So to just start off, I would like to just open up a few ground rules. Whenever you have the mic, please keep your answers as succinct and as to the point as possible. Don't elaborate a bit too much. Be to the point, because we have a lot of you to go through and want to hear from each and every one of you. And sometimes there might be a few things that are already shared by another panelist. You can just mention that yes, a few of the points you would like to you agree with, and you don't have to reiterate the same. Okay. So first off, I would just open it up with a simple question with respect to what is the most current or most exciting thing happening in science in today's world that has got you excited? Like anything from maybe biology to space to metals, anything, materials, whatever is currently fascinating you. Can you please elaborate what it is and why is it that this aspect is got your attention and you going into a deep dive and understand more about it? Any clarification on the question? Okay, so yeah. Anyone can start. Do you want the youngest or the eldest or random? Who was ready? Yeah.
Check.
One thing that currently has fascinated me is the Chandrayaan-3 launch to space. It's a very big achievement. It fascinates me because it landed on the other side of the moon. The moon's rotation and revolution time around the Earth is the same, as in it spins around its axis at the same time that it takes to spin around the Earth. This is why we see it has been shown that they are very dissimilar. Because in the Jupiter, there are usually storms and also circular patterns or bands that actually connect the atmosphere and the surface of Jupiter. But in Saturn, that's not how it happens. It actually happens due to cyclones. It happens due to typhoons which are also observed on Earth, and these actually give and actually support in a lot of ammonia that is deposited onto the surface of Saturn. So for me, it's like they are the same as we categorize them, called gas giants, but if you dive deep, they're very dissimilar, and it's actually a very fascinating thing to learn about for me. Thank you.
The thing that fascinates me the most in science these days is how they're experimenting with these things called brain chips. They use AI powered technology, or they use the technology that we have, and they put the knowledge into that chip, and they're trying to experiment how we can take that knowledge and implant it into our brains so that everyone can get that knowledge. But the thing is, I'm kind of, confused about this, because neuroscience has always interested me, but this doesn't seem like it could happen in my book.
So every 4 years, Australia holds a racing competition where only solar-powered cars can be used. And a few years ago, it was won by a Swedish team. And this Swedish team built a four-seater car, which is never seen before in that front. And it actually was able to win the race. And they started to develop on this idea, and recently they made the first road allowed four-seater solar powered car, and I think that can really help the environment, since it reduces the cost of fuel as well as emissions. So I think that's what could really help us today.
According to me, the most interesting thing going on in science right now would be organ transplanting from animals. Only the other day I was talking to my parents and they were telling me about how much money and how much time kidney patients who need a kidney donor, how much time they actually spend on bed waiting for a donor. If we could solve this problem by actually using kidneys from pigs, like a recent study came out, then this could really help humanity, as people usually die in the wait time waiting for a kidney donor. So I think that would be a really interesting scientific discovery.
We make new discoveries every day, but the thing that interests me the most is AI. It has been made by humans and can give answers to anything we ask. It fascinates me a lot because it has lots of knowledge, and it can create anything like a story if we ask it to, or it can answer any scientific question or a question that we ask. It's amazing that we've made an artificial intelligence like this to answer any question we ask, and it just fascinates me a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. I think we'll just take off from what the youngest panelist just shared about the brain chips. So we'll just dive a bit into it. I'll give you a context of, I think the FDA, the regulating body, only approved it yesterday that they can start testing it on humans to implant a chip, not to transfer knowledge, but to use a chip in the brain to help people who are paralyzed because of the nervous system being affected. So the chip will help connect those connections in the brain to help regain motor control or anything else that the nervous system has been made redundant about. So that is we're going to talk about using technology to help humanity in this manner, not about AI. So what are your thoughts about it, and what are your fears? Like Atharv just said about he's not too let's say positive and a bit skeptical about how things are. So what do you think is the future of this kind of technology when it's just starting off? It's like first human trials is happening, only permission came in only yesterday. So it'll take a few years and it'll be a decade before it is available to humanity. But what do you see is going to happen in this decade with technology like this?
Anything that is born will once die, and that is just the nature works. Human got paralyzed, okay, you can treat it. But suppose we make the chip, we insert the knowledge, we try to make the connections. It is a good thing to work on. It's a big technological achievement, a big medical achievement. It's good. We can, some people who are working on important projects, or I wouldn't give people more value. For example, there's a very great scientist, he's paralyzed, he can't work on his project which could save our world. We can help him there. But that is just the nature work. We can't be using chips to actually be helping the body work. That is just the way the nature works. Those are my thoughts. That is what I fear. No one will ever die. All the knowledge will be in chips. They will be talking to us even though their physical body is not there. That is my fear.
I think it's a good idea to help paralyzed people to gain their senses back. But in the future, I think humans will use it for like negative ideas, like gaining new abilities, and that would definitely affect everybody. So it would be good if it's used in a positive way, but somebody will create a negative invention using this technology. Thank you.
I feel like this is a good thing and it helps the paralyzed people, but sometimes it could take over the world. Like technology could take over us, it could take over our creativeness, it could just like take over us, and I feel like it's a good thing, but it could soon, turn bad and everyone will keep using it and
in the next decade, I'm sure that there will be a lot of problems like failures because the brain cannot handle, because we all know that electricity already runs through our brain, and of course this thing will need electricity, and that extra electricity may harm us. So in this next decade, I feel like the chip will definitely cause problems, but if it's tested properly and in a safe environment, it will definitely make a change.
So I've heard of people regaining the ability of sight by using neuronic impulses from chips. And if we are able to accomplish this today, who knows what we can do in the future? And this could end up being really destructive. And I don't think that chips are the way forward, but if we were able to use it to an extent without going too far, I think that could be really useful.
Yeah, just like Neil said, I actually agree with him, but there is a limit to everything. So even if we put a brain chip, it will cause a lot of problems. Like some people might, even if they're paralyzed, they might not want to put the chip, or if the brain chip malfunctions in the middle when in the surgery, or after the surgery if it malfunctions, it will cause huge problems. So if it's actually, even if it's tested properly, some problem will come and it could have. But I don't think brain chip is the actual way to treat paralyzation or get your vision back or any other abilities, and in the end it can also be used for other destructive things. Like we could get new super abilities which nature didn't intend us to, and then the world would just become a huge overrun by humanity, and this would not be good. So yeah, those are my thoughts. So my father recently wrote an article on LinkedIn about how we humans right now we're the alpha predators. But at the speed that AI is growing right now, he thought when he was walking once in HSR, he saw a man selecting from a range of chickens hanging at a shop. And then he got the idea, he thought, one day do you think AI will be selecting from what humans do select from a shop? So that's why I think AI is not the solution for this. I think AI won't take us forward, but it will bring us backwards.
At the end of the day, AI is something that is powered by human intelligence. It is us that feed data into the AI. So what are brain chips? Brain chips are basically human intelligence that are fed into it. When the wrong intelligence is fed and it is planted into a human body, what will that do? That will cause disruption. And doing this on a mass scale this brain chip can be used as a weapon. So I don't think that brain chips are the way to go, and I definitely don't think that they should be used to cure paralysis.
Thank you, everybody. I think the collective apprehension is heard and we've all understood. But what you need to keep in mind is, you folks and all of you sitting over here are the ones who are going to be working in this field 10, 15 years in the future. So talking about it now is going to be very important. And at the moment, all of you are very apprehensive and you feel that we should leave nature to how it is and not mess with it. That is understood, but you know what has happened in the past. You know, humans have always tried to tinker and always try to up one on nature as well and learn and get inspired from nature. So since most of you are very concerned about what it can unfold and unravel, I'll close up my questioning with this last point of, as the future scientists or the future community who's going to hold the responsibility of using this technology, what measures do you think can be applied or taken into context to ensure we don't cross these lines? How do you define that, and how do you ensure everyone agrees to it? So we can still experiment with science, but there is a boundary that all of us accept. So how do you think we can reach this point? So yes.
So for me, there could be like laws or a set of rules, not by any government, but like we have the UN, the United Nations, and we have the World Health Organization also. So the UN could actually set up rules or set up a new committee for scientific exploration, and we would need to have some ethics or rules or boundary that we should not cross. For example, these brain chips. We can try and use them, but if it is used in the wrong way, I mean, it might unravel a person's deep darks, or it can just kill him. It can just kill. So so there should be a set of rules that should be followed by everybody and monitored, and there should be registered labs that support or support the research of what they're doing. And and you can set up a lab, but it should be approved by any local committee or any government that is monitoring it.
I think nature has already set rules for us, and these rules I feel are the boundaries of nature, and these boundaries should not be crossed. And I think if we don't push so much as to the nature something will happen, right? If something happens to nature, then we should know to stop and not go any further.
So I think ethics and science go hand in hand, and Of course, if we don't push, there's no way of progress. But if we push too much, it can really harm us. For example, nuclear energy. If we didn't have ethical boundaries, it leads to bombing, like the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombing. But if we used it in boundary, it could be used to generate energy and electricity, and could use to be and could be used to help us instead. So I think if we were able to utilize our resources without pushing the ethical boundary too far, that could lead to a good.
I totally agree with Neil that ethics and science move hand in hand. So the purpose of making all these new things are right. We can test them, we can keep them with us. The purpose needs to be right, but then later on, we after all are humans and we are creative, so there will be a bad use of this. So we need to work with all of this in a very careful manner. We can make all of this technology that we want, we can keep them, but I would not agree that we can use it on a mass population.
I agree that we should have a boundary stopping us. Like we have to keep developing and developing, but as soon as we start becoming destructive, we should stop there. We should find another way and continue in that path instead of using the negative path. So, yeah, that's my thought. Thank you.
I feel like there should also be a boundary for the data which is added into that chip. And I also feel like there could be another way, like herbs or something could be used instead of always technology.
I feel like there should be a set of ethics for experimenting with AI and all these organ transplants, Because one problem we're facing today is when people make something small, they, instead of going on it for at least one more year or something, they experiment directly and it can cause some problems. That's why I feel there should be a set of ethics for how far we can take AI and how far we can take science itself.
I personally believe that the more data we feed into AI, the more it's going to be used in the bad way. Because the more data, the more access people have, and human mind tends to use things in the wrong way. So I believe that if there was a rule or certain set of ethics and rule that was set as to the amount of data that could be fed into something, then we could seriously use AI in the right way without letting people go on the wrong track.
Okay, thank you. I'll open the panel to Rashmi ma'am to ask a question.
First of all, I'm so delighted to listen to all your thoughts. It's a wonderful thing. My question to you is that India is the only country and the first country to include scientific temper in its constitution. So in the 42nd Amendment, Article 51AH was included, according to which it is a fundamental duty of every citizen to develop scientific attitude, spirit of inquiry, humanism, and reforms. So what is your thought on this? Like, I'll just give a few examples. A saint sitting in the hilly region doing meditation, or a lady working in the paddy field, or a cobbler sitting on the roadside mending shoes for us, or a street vendor selling fruits. Why do they need to have scientific attitude? I would like to listen to your thoughts on this. Thank you.
I think India is a very fast developing country, and since it is developing at a rapid rate, everybody has to be on the right track. Nobody can, in a decade or so, most people who can't afford phones are left out. They cannot be contacted. So I feel that we developing is something that cannot be done by a few people, but by everybody in the nation.
I feel with the examples you've given, like a cobbler mending shoes on the road, there's nothing such as not having scientific attitude. Everyone has to have science in them. Science is basically everything. Without scientific attitude, you can't be human. Without scientific attitude, you're basically inhumane. That's why everyone has scientific attitude. So that law basically isn't needed, I could say, because everyone has it.
Each one of us have some amount of scientists in us. Some of us, we use them to our full potential, and some don't. Some just leave it to where, yes, I know the answer to one question. So what about those people? So I would take the examples. The fruit vendor. Suppose they all know a lot about the types of fruits, how we can use them, the benefits. And most of us don't. Most of us small kids, we do not remember the useful values of those things. If they know it, they can share it. And that way we can develop faster. Even those small thoughts can help us develop as a nation.
According to me, just like Atharv said, everything is science. So it need not. So what if it's a cobbler? The cobbler might find a new way to make shoes, or a farmer might find a new grain or a herb that actually helps us that we have not discovered yet. Or a fruit vendor might find maybe a new type of juice or something, a juice of between two fruits mixed that will actually help us. So everybody has a scientific way, because just like Atharv said, we are science. It's not that we are in the universe, but the universe is also in us. So basically, everybody has a scientific attitude, but they can use it in different ways. For example, scientists maybe use it to make new discoveries that may be huge. For example, the Los Alamos project. But cobblers may find a new small discovery, like finding a new way to make a shoe, a new type of shoe, and that might not be that big, but it is still a discovery, and it could be very useful in the future. So yeah.
My thought is that there's no limit that only scientists can do these discoveries. Anybody can. So everybody has to. If you want to develop, everybody has to contribute in any way. So like Shaurya said, like a cobbler can make a new shoe, or a juice vendor could make a new juice. Everybody has to contribute to for a nation to develop in some way. Thank you.
I agree with everything my panelists have said so far, and even I too believe that science is something that is present in each one of us, but at times we fail to discover our scientific temper or our scientific passion, and it's all about finding it and then utilizing it in our day-to-day life and working towards it. Like ma'am mentioned, the cobbler on the road. The cobbler on the road also needs a certain amount of scientific temper to be able to figure out the tautness of the strings on the shoes, or what polish to use, what the polish should consist of. All of that requires science. So I believe science is present everywhere, and it's all about finding our scientific temper.
I actually agree with everyone here, and everyone has their own scientific temperament and passion in different fields. And this is perfect, because for the development of our country, we need development in several fields. And since if cobblers could come up with new shoes, if fruit vendors could come up with new herbal solutions, then they would help us in their own ways. And with this absolute development of the nation, India could soar.
said that science is in everything, from the vitamin C in oranges and the materials used in glue to help fix shoes. Everyone has a scientific aspect, and that helps us develop as a nation together.
It is so beautiful to listen to you all. That showcases that equality exists among us. As I talked about the fundamental duty, so it's the fundamental duty of each and every citizen to be a part and to contribute in making our nation a developed nation. So now I have another question. India is becoming a digital leader. Recently, we showcased our skills, innovation and creativity in the G20 summit in the form of UPI, Sanjeevani and Bhashini. So what, according to you, has not been explored or not been touched, which you would like to innovate and contribute for your country? Thank you. Any clarity on the digital innovations that we have done? UPI, Bhashini, Sanjeevani? I think everyone has heard. If you need clarity, please. Yes, yes. As I said, that we showcased our innovation and skills in the digital world. And the other countries, those who had visited and were part of G20 summit, they also got benefited through the innovations that we have done. So what is it that you feel that is untouched and unexplored which you would like to touch upon? Yes.
One thing that no one, mostly all of us dream about, but no one actually works on, is space colonization. Now that requires rockets to go to space and search, but we can do this digitally. We can make a machine that sends out signals far away. Any form of life, any language that they speak will be a signal to the machine, and it will tell to us how far is it, what is the planet. Then we will give names. Then soon we will have the urge to go to that planet, and that will solve another problem, fast transportation. We will be able to use that planet's resources. So I do think that space colonization and space exploration for humans, a backup for Earth, another planet which does not have life but is sustainable for humans, is a big thing that we all need to keep working on. Because in the path that we are going, soon we will be needing a Earth B.
So for me, the thing that it is explored, but not that much like every other digital advancements have been. I think it's cybersecurity, because we need to protect whatever we have already digital made. So if we have, we've made a new website, and what can we do to protect it from becoming hacked, or what can we do to protect it from becoming, like adding too many cookies or too many ads or too many scams. So I mainly think it's cybersecurity, because you always need to protect what you have made, even digitally. And even though there are a few companies that are trying to solve this, I don't think it's taken that seriously, and it's not explored that much in these days.
Like in the G20 summit recently, India said that we will be sharing our UPI system with Sri Lanka. And I think this is very nice, and it's very kind of India to do this, because it of course helps them, right? But one thing that I do think will happen is the UPI system will be taken differently. Sri Lanka is not as fast, is not as quick of a developer as India. But I feel with this UPI system, we will need to also change it for Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka works differently. They operate differently. So I feel that digitally we should change it. We shouldn't be copywriting what we're giving them. We should be changing it slightly.
What I would like to do is give everybody access to this digital world. Not everybody has a mobile, not everybody has access to the internet. In our school, there's a lot of computers, but not all schools have. So, the biggest goal here is giving everybody access and giving everybody an opportunity to yeah, that's my thought. Well, I think the technology-wise thing that India has never explored is VR. Most of you think it's just a game and can't be used in any ways. But simulators could help us do many things. Like, you can see sometimes that people are taking driving tests on the road and it could even cause traffic, just all those driving tests. But for practice, VR could also be an innovation. You could use it for many things to do in the digital world instead of, crowding up the real world.
I actually agree with Shaurya. Cybersecurity is a real problem nowadays, and I was recently hacked on my Gmail account. And I think VPN nowadays are very costly. So, if we were able to develop a safe net where there are ad blockers and VPN for free, then I think that everyone could be safe and there wouldn't be much problem of being getting hacked. Yeah.
I think something that is very underexplored. I would take this back to my project and I would go to cancer research. I think that cancer research is something that needs to start off digitally. We need to have some sort of digital forum where we can actually start off by detecting carcinogens in our daily environment. Like, I'm taking this back to my project. If we could create something like that digitally, then this could be shared with the world and we could really take our first step to a future of overcoming cancer in globally. I think that is something.
I agree with Vidhi. I think that there could always be an awareness about a disease that could be recently created or that is already there, which is creating a big impact. They could pass an awareness on to the other countries. Like, please look into this a bit more, or upgrade this a bit more, add solutions to it.
Conflicts, contradictions, and productive disagreement. How do you look at these things in the process of learning and in the journey of exploration? So what was your experience when you had the thought of designing the activity or the idea when you initiated your process of this MNL project? Did you have any contradictions or disagreement with your elders or with your peer group? What was your journey in this aspect where you learned something new? I would like to listen to that aspect. Thank you.
So when I was informed that I was selected for MNL round 2, I went back home and I was quite panicked actually, because I'm not very good at art. I knew that I had to make a drawing and a full chart of what my idea would be. And I had table tennis coaching the same day. And I told my mother, Mom, I don't really need to go because I need to think of an idea quickly. I have only 2 days. So then she said, no, you get your mind off it, and somewhere along the line there will come something that you can think about and you can use. So, and then as I'm driving to my TT coaching, I'm looking at outside the window and I see garbage. I see garbage on the side of roads, and that's why my idea sparked up to make a drone that would help us by collecting it, and that's how my idea came up here.
Conflict and contradiction is very important because asking a question leads to answers. And this is how I found my MNL project. When I went home, I started brainstorming on ideas. My parents had a couple of their own ideas, but I wasn't on board with them. So with thinking, I was able to come up with my MNL project. And that's why I think thinking of other ideas can really help when you want to make something.
This was a project that actually was inspired from my father who helped me, but mostly it came from these sci-fi movies where you see these flying cars, these gravity magnetic cars and everything. So I was going to the school, and every day I go by a petrol pump. I see a lot of vehicles waiting over there. Then there is another place where vehicles are being charged. I thought lithium is not renewable nor recyclable, then why do we use it so much? So I thought, why don't we make the energy sourceless, give the vehicle a push, and the rest of the journey is powered by kinetic energy. The learning was a lot. I didn't even know who invented kinetic energy, where are the places we find kinetic energy, and now I know all that. So the learning matters, and I try to keep the whole thing simple so that the underprivileged, if I ever manage to make a very working model, the underprivileged will be able to afford and understand my idea. Because my father said, excess information fails and simple one scales.
So for me, my idea actually came from my father. I honestly didn't even know that space debris was that much of a problem. And then I've also seen these TED Talks about how they're talking that space debris is becoming a huge problem, and that the satellites that we use for every day, the shipping and transportation, mics, the food that you eat, it's all connected to satellites. So, but these satellites are also leaving a lasting mark. For example, what happens if they run out of coolant, or what happens if they just naturally reach the end of their life? Where do they go? Well, they just stay in space, cluttering the orbital environment and making it harder to release more rockets for more space research. And these space debris can also cause a lot of harm to the Earth, not only space. For example, if these fuel tanks have the Russian Proton rockets, leftover fuel tanks are actually protected by very protective heat shields, and if they ever manage to land on the Earth, the fuel tanks are actually toxic because of all those years in space, and they can release a very toxic carcinogen that can eventually lead to the killing of animals and plants nearby. So yeah, my project was actually came from my parents, and I learned a lot that I wouldn't have learned.
I think my project idea was something that came from me, my mom, and my dad collectively. It was an idea I think that immediately clicked and we all three unanimously agreed on. And criticism was something that was an everyday thing. Throughout the whole process, criticism was given to me in immense amounts, and I think that's what made me reach here today. I think that's what made me want to prove my parents wrong, that yes, I can do this, taking their suggestions, and that is what helped me throughout this whole process and got me to the panel discussion.
So when I got the mail, my mother kept swarming me with ideas, and I told her at least wait for them to give the orientation first. So then my mother won't stop telling me make a train sensor, which is exactly what he made. So then I was sitting on the sofa thinking, what should I do? I don't have any idea. Then I heard a then I heard a shout, Chipkali! Then I screamed and I ran into the room. So then when I was hiding behind the door, I was looking out with my father trying to catch it. And then my father caught its tail. And then I saw the lizard twist its tail off and run through the balcony. That's where my brain went ka-ching. So then I got the idea and I started working on it.
My friends said that my idea was good, but it was very rare. Like, it did not happen that often. And I mean, that is true, but it's very fatal. So I kept arguing with them, and then they didn't listen. They told it was not that good. Just change your idea. But that just made me more determined to keep going and going, and to find my solution and win. So that's it.
So when I got the mail that I got selected for round 2 of MNL, I first wanted to work on a civilization where, I saw in movies like flying cars and AI bots stationed at random places. And in my civilization, they're usually roads. So I thought of inventing something new. That's when I got the idea of talking traffic lights. Then my dad was like, you first focus on one area, then go on to everything else. So I'm like, since I just invented this idea, why don't I go on that? Then I started upgrading and I started researching when I got to know about NDTV, and it's a recent report that Bangalore alone loses 20,000 crores. So I thought like I could do a really big impact to help India develop a lot by thinking of this solution of traffic lights and my system to help India.
Now I would like Shaurya to ask some questions. Sharav, I'm sorry. Sharav to ask a question from you.
Yeah, so these days there's a lot of news going on about carbon footprint, which is the amount of carbon dioxide that's released into the environment. And in fact, many companies these days are trying to go carbon neutral. They're trying to not produce carbon in high amounts, neither in low. But for example, Bhutan they've gone carbon neutral. They almost have zero amount of carbon dioxide. They don't pollute. So my question, but this is very difficult to go carbon negative while progressing as a nation. So my question is, how do you think we can reduce the amount of carbon dioxide released into the environment as well as progress as a nation?
We could use renewable resources, because that's the best idea to me. These renewable energy won't get over and it does not pollute. So this, like for example, solar panels, like the windmills, it will help us develop while being carbon neutral.
So for me, just like Karthik said, I also think it's renewable energy and renewable resources. But I also think there is a step towards planting trees and helping nature take its way. For example, biodegradable materials that we can use like paper, and they're also recently made food waste cement. Like the food that we waste and that cannot be utilized, they make it into cement. So whenever there's a whenever there's like a they actually test it. So whenever there's like a flash flood or there's any natural disaster, and if you still have this food cement, it can also be used to be scraped up, cleaned, boiled, and it can be drunk, which can help you. So I think we can use biodegradable materials, renewable energy, and also the food cement to construct houses.
So I'm an avid Formula One watcher, and recently Mercedes, one of the top 3 racers, said we want to do an electrical car race. And then later when this was seen into, they said we feel that since we aren't that good in winning by polluting, we can win by saving the environment. So then later they said, well, I know this is quite hypocritical of us, but by doing this electrical vehicle racing, it can also not only help the environment, but it will also be very much less noisier. So I think, yeah.
Now the carbon footprint has to be controlled, and I think my MNL project could be a solution to this. So rather than burning garbage on the sides of roads, if we were able to collect all the non-hazardous and non-recyclable garbage and put it for incineration in a controlled manner, it can be used to generate light and heat, which can be converted into electrical energy.
I think my idea is somewhat similar to Neil. I don't believe that we can actually progress as a nation by completely eliminating our production of carbon. If we want to develop, there will be a certain amount of production of carbon. So I believe that if we can come up with something like Neil said, where we use carbon to actually form another byproduct which is useful to us, then that can really help, because the elimination of carbon completely isn't something I see as possible.
Actually, in MNL round 2, Shaurya sitting over there, she had used this method, zero carbon footprint, where I just thought of it, and I thought that how much ever carbon we use, that much carbon could be converted into electricity and again be given back to us in factories. So she mainly gave me my idea, and
So my idea is, no, we shouldn't reduce production of carbon, but make it more. As we can use Neil's idea and use trash on the roads to produce the carbon dioxide, so that this can be converted into electrical energy, light energy, heat energy, all of that. So we could make these carbon facilities that take the direct carbon dioxide coming out from the burning of garbage, and it could be able to produce electricity.
I totally agree with what the other panelists said, but I pick only a few ideas, because if I were to say all, not even a whole day would be enough. So my first idea was recycling plastic to make fabrics. Last year in the newspaper, it had been stated that Modi ji was wearing a jacket made out of recycled plastic taken from a large amount of dump plastic in Delhi. And then number 2, someone had stated that there are solar generated vehicles. We can use them. Then we can use the food waste. Every year there is around 3 tons of tomato waste, and with that we can produce a large amount of electricity. Number 3, Neil's project, he used to burn it. The remains of the ash, that can be used to make cement. We did not add petroleum to it. we can make cement, and the raw carbon. If we just collect the carbon during the burning process, we will be able to make ink instead of the current method. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I think we've had a really fruitful and interesting discussion. Keep in mind that this is only the junior mini Nobel panel, and you still have 4 more years ahead of you to be part of, or 4 plus another 4 more for the younger one, to be part of the senior mini Nobel Laureate as well. Lots of interesting points shared. Lots for you to learn from each other as well and discover new things to learn a bit more about. So there's lots more to be made aware about, lots more to learn, and as you all shared, persevere, be open to criticism, and always keep it simple. So keep these basic aspects in mind, and I'm sure you'll achieve a lot more in life. Congratulations again to you and everyone.
Thank you so much. A huge round of applause for all the panelists here. Definitely talking about carbon print, I mean, we need to reduce that, but the way you've sort of elevated, right, with your thought process, definitely you're going to leave a great footprint for us in future. And you started right now. Great, wonderful. I think for normal people like us, I think we just look at what a person wears, just the aesthetics, but like how certain people, I mean, like someone mentioned, he's even watched Modi ji, what he's wearing, right? Made of plastic, so much of intricate detailing. I think only a scientist can do, and all of you are scientists in making, yeah? A huge round of applause again. And as we wait for the consolidation of marks, can we have questions from the audience? Yeah. Or maybe we can start from a parent, yes?
Hi, it was lovely to hear your views on carbon footprint. I have one question. Do you do at an individual level today what you can do? For example, switching off a light when you move out of a room, right? Carpooling when you can. So I think those are some things at an individual level. I know you are a scientist and your mind thinks like a scientist, but as a human, as an individual, I'm just leaving you with the thought that you want to think about, are you doing that today to reduce the carbon footprint?
That's wonderful. Okay. You can use the mic there.
As you said, carpooling is a very big method of saving the environment because less gas is emitted from the cars and less fuel is needed, so you can reduce the usage of petroleum. But I think carpooling is not just a burden. Some people think of it as a burden because like you can't use your own car and all stuff. But carpooling is a way towards the perfect civilization. Socialization is the main way for this right now. Actually, in my case, I actually do carpooling, but in the morning, my dad will be lazy sometimes. I do carpooling with my friend called Himaksh, and then in the evening, since we all live in the same apartment, we keep exchanging, and then the different parents comes and pick us up, and we do carpooling almost every day. And so daily I also play for like 2 hours. Okay, I get 2 hours of playtime. Whenever I go down, my mom always reminds me to like turn off the light in your room and go down, or turn off the fan and go down. So that's why I do that, and then I go down and play.
Most of the schools, they have this very good thing that we have buses. Because I would not prefer to go OT because I'm just coming alone in my car, and that alone I'll be wasting more fuel. But suppose I'm coming in a bus, we'll be using a little more of fuel, but around 4 times more the people will be traveling through that. Some schools, only the students, they need to go to the schools. Most of the schools have that. But it's a privilege to have our school with buses.
Okay, I think let's have the next question. Can we have the next question? But ma'am, I did understand what you meant. Small steps, I think, right? Being a scientist, yes, but small action, small steps is what really, really matters.
Hi, good morning everyone. I think first of all I would like to thank the panelists. I can't imagine doing these things when I was in your age. Kudos to your courage. My simple question to you is, do you plan to leave all the discussion, enthusiasm and spirit in this room, or how do you plan to take it beyond this hour throughout your life?
So for me, I actually very interested in astrophysics. So it's not like even if I don't win today, I'm gonna leave everything here. But I'm actually gonna take my father even suggested for me to take my project even further and make it more successful. So this is like a small step that we all get as a learning experience. But it's not like we're gonna leave all our excitement, our enthusiasm over here. So I wouldn't do that.
I don't think I'm going to be leaving anything behind today. I think I'm going to remember every single word all of these people, all of the panelists have said today. And I know for a fact that I've learned so much more than I could have ever expected. Like, I never knew that Narendra Modi had worn a jacket made out of plastic. And I learned so many new things that I think are going to help me a lot for my future.
I also have learned a lot from this experience, and during this first and second round, the second round of the MNL selection, Rashmi Gupta and Rashmi Mishra ma'am had asked me, how do you plan to carry forward your project past just these rooms? And I think I'm gonna work on that for the rest of my for now, and I also plan to attend several other competitions such as the Vigyana Hubba.
All right, I think let's have the last question. Maybe from the students. Yeah.
What drives you to follow science? I mean, any one subject that you've heard of which made you most interested in science? Make science your main objective?
It is just the urge to find the answer to that why. Just the urge to find the answer to that why that keeps you moving on. Why is kinetic energy kinetic energy? Why does it occur only when an object is moving and when it's still? What is potential energy? Is that the opposite of kinetic energy? Just so much knowledge. Even maths, you can consider it science of numbers and beyond. Social studies, social science, computer science, everything is science. Everything is science.
For me, the urge for me to learn science is basically that even if it's an urge, it's something that you should know. For example, if you're at your home and then you don't know you got sick, you don't know what to take, you don't know what precautions to take. So even if you don't like science, you just have to use it because it can affect you in a very long term. So for me, I mainly want to learn about our space, outer space. And that is the main thing that drives me, the objective to learn science, and it's mainly the why. Why does it happen? Just like how Adit.
Thank you. I think we've come to the end of the program. Wonderful questions and a big takeaway. I think we pocketed a lot of thoughts, a lot of trigger to everyone present here, right? To start thinking, to look at details. That's what is very, very important. That's science, yeah? Over to ma'am.
Now I would request Ragesh sir to kindly announce the winner.
Namaste everybody. I think this year sir had made a decision to do a little bit different from what we've been doing past couple of years, where we're going to be also recognizing the panelists as well with a small scholarship, apart from also the winner. So it's not just the winner who will be getting. So not only for MNL, but also for all of our other programs from URA, School Blues, all of that. So even if you come close, you don't walk away just with just being close, but there's a small token of appreciation also from the school. So for the winner of the junior MNL, I would like to call Bhavi ma'am to give away the certificate. So the winner is Neil, Nikhil and
Many congratulations to the Neil. Can we have a huge round of applause for Neil and all the other participants?
recognition circles to each of the panelists, starting with Vidhi. Uday. Vidhi, your photo is here. Shaurya. Karthik. Adit. Saanvi. And Atharv.
On behalf of everyone, I first congratulate the winners and also many congratulations to the participants. A special thanks to Service Sir, Principal Ma'am, and the entire team for creating this distinct opportunity for our GIIS Cups. I would also like to extend special thanks to all the parents, my fellow mentors and GIIS Cups for joining us and making this occasion a huge success. Thank you one and all. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.